Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and I rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And welcome to the conclusion of my Pirates of the Caribbean series, where I have reviewed every Pirates of the Caribbean movie from Curse of the Black Pearl up to now. I have covered the previous four. If you would like to check those out, they will be linked in the eye in the right-hand corner. But for right now, let us now dive into the fifth, and thankfully final, Pirates of the Caribbean movie. This was directed by Espen Sandberg and Joachim Renning. I don't think I got that right, so I'll put his name in the lower third. And this was released in 2017. Jack is back once again. This time around, he is roped into a search for the Trident of Poseidon. Yeah, like the sea god himself. Along the way is the son of Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, a woman who is a woman of science who wants to find her father, I think, or does something science-related, and Salazar, played by Javier Bardem, and his terrible CGI. I remember seeing this movie in 2017 when it came out, and I said, alright, that was fine, and then really not thinking all that much of it. Rewatching it for this video, oh no, this movie is not good. Now, for the sake of fairness, I'm not going to say this movie is just the absolute worst. It is not. However, this movie is just so blatantly obvious as like a cash grab that it can't even play the hits right. At least Stranger Tides managed to play the hits right. In Dead Men Tell No Tales, it's just literally the equivalent of Disney just being like, just throw some pirates on the screen. People will pay it. You'll never catch me saying a bad word about Johnny Depp as Captain Jack, and that goes double here. I feel like he is trying his hardest in a movie that just really doesn't deserve him at this point. They try to make it work with Salazar, and more on him in a second, and it feels incredibly tacked on, especially the CGI, and again, more on Salazar CGI in a bit, because it is ass. But there is some de-aging on Johnny Depp that just is incredibly noticeable, especially when you consider that they pretty much de-aged Captain Jack instead of Johnny Depp himself, and when you look at a picture of young Johnny Depp in this movie versus young Johnny Depp in, say, A Nightmare on Elm Street or 21 Jump Street, the two honestly look like two completely different people. I guess this is as good a place as any to jump into Salazar, because my goodness, it's blatantly obvious that they wanted so desperately to have Davy Jones as the villain. They even tease him coming back in the movie. That's not going to happen. They so badly wanted Davy Jones here that they had Blackbeard basically be him, and they had Salazar basically being him. There's even, Davy Jones's curse on Salazar and his crew, meaning that they can't step on land. But at least Davy Jones couldn't step on land for a 10-year period, then he could step on. These guys can't step on land, period. You're basically doing Davy Jones, but adding new stipulations, thinking, oh, look how creative we are. No, you're not. You're just doing the same thing, except the non-union, legally distinct version of the popular thing. Oh yes, and not to mention the fact that the CGI is god-friggin' awful here. And not even, and with all due respect to VFX artists, I have nothing but love for them. I imagine their job must be very difficult. But, oh Nelly, there is some CGI here that I was just sitting there like, Disney is worth billions of dollars. How did they sign off on any of this? From the bone sharks that are definitely not there, but they want you desperately to think are there, to Salazar and his crew walking on the water, or running on the water, I should say. It's painful to watch, and like I said in my Curse of the Black Pearl review, the CGI there is suspect at best at parts, but at the very least, it's tied into the story, and you don't see it too terribly often. A lot of times, Curse of the Black Pearl used actual sets, which was very wise. Here, the CGI is pretty much everywhere, and 9 times out of 10, it's not good. Barbossa is here for reasons, and especially considering one of the characters, it's trying to put some emotional weight on it and completely whiffs it. Captain Jack's crew, including Gibbs, is back, and the movie actually has a curious plot point that just made me have to say to myself, why do you people stay? Like, why are you so loyal to Captain Jack when he clearly doesn't pay you and lead you on wild goose chases that ultimately lead to nowhere? I was just sitting there asking themselves, like, I know the late 1600s weren't exactly the best time to be alive, but still, you guys could do so much better. Especially Gibbs. If Gibbs existed today and I were a boss, I'd hire him. But no, it just makes so little sense that these people would be so loyal to a guy who, again, has his moments of brilliance, but at the same time looks like he doesn't even pay them to go on these excursions. Like, what gives? To dive into a couple of the new characters, specifically the son of William Turner and Elizabeth Swann. I believe his name is Henry. He's played by Brenton Thwaites, a good actor, but honestly, you could have edited him out of the movie and really it could have been no different. The only real reason he's there is to have Orlando Bloom back as Will Turner one more time, and for a Keira Knightley cameo where she looks like she's only aged approximately 2 or 3 days since At World's End, an entire human decade after when Dead Men Tell No Tales was released.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
And then there's, I'm going to try and say her name right, Kaya Scodelario. I feel kind of sorry for her, because looking at her IMDb, it's just kind of sad. Because she's in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which I didn't see it, but I heard nothing but bad things. She was in The Maze Runner, which I've heard mixed feelings on, but still people just don't like that one. She was in this, and she was in The King's Daughter, which is a movie that came out earlier this year that I'm pretty sure no one outside of the cinema snob watched. And I just feel sorry for her, because I think she could be a good actress, but she just gets the short end of the stick on everything. And her performance in this is good, but her character is just plain annoying. Not to mention, she's given not the best material in the world. There is a scene where Henry Turner saves her from being hanged for being, quote, a witch, because she has the travesty of being a woman of science. Just as a brief side note, they did this in Monty Python and the Holy Grail for laughs. Anyway, as Henry Turner saves her, well, his hand goes, well, you know. And they actually acknowledge it with a line where she basically says, well, considering where your hand is, I'm not so sure about that. Now, this could have been a complete and total coincidence, but this movie was released in 2017, and you have, in a Disney movie, one of the characters with his hand up a girl's, well, you know. I'm saying movies take a long time to make, but considering the year was 2017 when it got released, and certain events in the movie industry were happening around that time, oh boy, it's one of those kind of tug at your collar kind of moments. I do feel bad for Miss Scodelario. I think she could have been good here, but either she's given annoying dialogue to say, or some of the dialogue with her in it and some of the scenarios are just either not interesting at best or cringe at worst, and there's no in between. I struggle to give this movie either a forgettable or a horrid rating, but you know what? This movie gets a horrid. I mean, this movie just shouldn't have been made, straight up. And I like this. I like Stranger Tides more than this because it at least played, or at least attempted to play, the Pirates of the Caribbean hits that we all love. It didn't do it well, but at least it tried. And here it just felt like just throwing pirates on the screen and thinking, oh, people will pay to see it. And there's just no thought to any stories or anything compelling. Just, hey, Captain Jack's back. Like, sorry, that's just not good enough for me. don't see this movie. Don't rewatch it if you've seen it. Just continue to block it out of your memory. But if you've had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing this, what did you think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And next week on the channel, well, after this Pirates series, I was debating what I should do next for Sunday videos, and I have an entire, letterbox list full of, watch list stuff that I wanted to talk about for some time. So I think, while I have some time before I throw myself full into Scary Mania, I want to knock some of those off. So starting next week, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that I haven't seen before. It's going to be mostly I finally watched videos. Starting next week with my first reaction to the Jim Carrey masterpiece, The Mask. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.